Imagine a place where the thermometer drops to -30 degrees and sometimes even lower. A place where the sun might not appear above the horizon for several weeks in a row. Where, to meet even a single person, you would have to drive tens and sometimes hundreds of kilometers along an empty, snow-covered road. It feels as though nature itself is doing everything it can here to drive people away. And yet they stay. Here, people build homes. Here, children are born. Here, people grow up, marry, grow old, and pass away. And then new children are born, who will stay too. Generation after generation, people turn this harsh, snow-covered land into something more than just a place to survive. They turn it into a home. But why? What makes a person hold on to a land that seems so unwelcoming to guests? What lies behind this snowy silence, behind these lonely lights glowing in the windows of wooden houses scattered across an endless forest? Today we are heading to a place where the familiar world ends and the true far north begins. We will see what an ordinary day looks like in a small village lost among the taiga and the tundra. We will try to understand why, for centuries, people have chosen to stay here, instead of moving somewhere warmer, brighter, and easier. This is a story about life at the very edge of the map. The far north we are talking about lies in the northern part of Europe. This territory stretches from warm coastal cities in the south to the boundless wilderness in the far north, all the way to where the roads end and true emptiness begins. Nearly 1/3 of the entire country lies beyond the Arctic Circle. This makes it one of the northernmost places on the planet where people live year-round, permanently, not just as occasional visitors. Moving further north, the scenery outside the window gradually changes. First come dense coniferous forests, tall, silent, seeming to stretch on forever. Then the forest begins to thin out, giving way to thousands of lakes that mirror the low northern sky. Even farther on, the forest disappears completely and open tundra begins. Bare, flat land covered in moss and lichen, stretching all the way to the border with the neighboring country. It is here, amid this harsh and majestic emptiness, that small villages are scattered. Villages that have existed for many generations in a row. This is one of the most sparsely populated corners of Europe. In some villages, only a few hundred people live there, year-round, including through the longest and darkest winter. Wooden houses stand along rivers, on the shores of lakes, and along the single road that connects these small settlements to the rest of the world. The distance between neighboring villages can stretch for tens and sometimes hundreds of kilometers. And so, silence here is nothing unusual. It is simply part of everyday life, something people grow used to from early childhood. Here, time flows in a completely different way. In the city, a person rarely notices whether the sun is rising or setting. Here, it is light itself that sets the whole rhythm of life. From what people do in the morning to what time they go to bed. In winter, this region enters a special period when the sun barely appears above the horizon. Weeks pass in soft blue twilight, in a dim light that never turns into a truly bright day. And yet, this time cannot be called complete darkness. It is simply a different, quieter, slower kind of light. In summer, everything changes completely. Weeks come when the sun barely sets at all. The night stays bright, as if the day simply keeps going without stopping. On nights like these, people mow the lawn, repair their roof, or go fishing at hours when the rest of the world has long since gone to sleep. This land lives by its own rules, rules of light and darkness that shape the entire rhythm of the year. But there is one more phenomenon here that has fascinated people for centuries. At night, especially in winter, when the sky is clear, colorful glowing bands appear above these endless forests and lakes. Green, Sometimes tinted with pink or purple, they drift slowly and silently across the sky, as if some unseen hand were drawing patterns directly overhead. For travelers who come here from far away, seeing this phenomenon with their own eyes is one of the main goals of the entire trip. People are willing to stand in the cold for hours just to catch this moment. But for local residents, it's different. For them, it's simply a familiar part of winter, as ordinary as snowfall or frosty air. Sometimes a door quietly opens. Someone steps out for a couple of minutes to look at the sky, then goes back inside, into the warmth, where family, hot tea, and a cozy evening by the window are waiting. It is in this very contrast that something truly important about life here is hidden. The sky here is remarkable. But the most remarkable thing isn't the sky at all. The most remarkable thing is how ordinary people manage to turn this harsh, almost uninhabitable place into a real home. A home they choose again and again, generation after generation. So what lies beyond these vast distances and this snowy silence? What does an ordinary morning look like in a village like this? What do people do when it's -30 outside and the whole world seems frozen still? Why do children who grew up here, once they're grown, still come back, instead of staying forever in warm, bright cities? We will travel to the very heart of this land, to where wooden houses stand amid the taiga, where a fire burns in the stove each evening, and a simple homemade dinner simmers on the stove. We will look inside these homes and find out what makes people feel truly happy here, despite the cold, the darkness, and the endless distance to the nearest town. Because behind the harsh climate and the unsettling silence lies something far warmer. Ordinary human life, full of small joys, simple habits, and a deep, almost invisible love for one's own land. This is only the beginning of our journey to the very edge of the map. Ahead of us are homes built to withstand the harshest frosts. Ahead are evenings by the fire and remarkable traditions passed down from generation to generation. Ahead are people who prove every single day that home isn't where life is easy, it's where you truly want to be. Turn off the main road, and the noise of the city is left far behind. A completely different world begins here. Among tall pines, among snowdrifts that reach almost to the windows, stand wooden houses, red, yellow, slightly faded with age. They aren't scattered at random, but with real purpose, far enough apart that each family has its own space and quiet, yet close enough that in a snowstorm, a neighbor can come to help. Here, silence isn't emptiness. It's simply the natural state of life, something people grow used to from birth. Even though the houses stand far apart, with whole kilometers of forest and snow-covered roads sometimes lying between neighbors, local people still have places where the whole village gathers. And often it turns out to be something quite different from what you might expect. In small northern villages, the heart of the whole community is the ordinary local grocery store. It's not just a place to buy bread, milk, and canned goods. It's the one place where you can run into a neighbor after days when the only sign that anyone else was around was a wisp of smoke rising from a distant chimney. Here, people trade news, ask each other about their health, and find out how everyone made it through the last snowstorm. And in the most remote settlements, where a regular store is hard to reach, a special truck arrives once a week, a small mobile shop on wheels. It brings fresh food and, just as importantly, brings the chance to talk to someone new. Even a short stop by this truck becomes a real little event. People come out of their houses, exchange a few words, ask how things are going, and then the village slips back into its familiar, quiet, slow rhythm. Here, a house is more than just a roof over your head. It's the result of many generations of experience gained from the fight against the cold. Most houses are built from local pine. The walls are made with multiple layers, thickly insulated, and the windows have several layers of glass, so the warmth stays inside even when the temperature outside drops to -30 degrees and below. But there's one surprising detail that catches your eye right away. You'd think that in such a cold climate, windows should be small, so heat doesn't escape through them. But local people do exactly the opposite. They build enormous windows. Through windows like these, you can see endless pine forests, quiet frozen lakes, snow-white fields. Nature becomes part of every room in the house. Even while inside, in the warmth, a person never loses their connection to it. They see it every day, from early morning until late evening. And because of this, the cold outside seems to stop being an enemy. It simply becomes part of the landscape, part of everyday life. If the house protects people from winter, then its true heart is the fireplace. When darkness falls early, which happens through almost the entire cold season, families gather in the kitchen, next to the fire. Someone cooks dinner together with others, someone reads a book, someone sets up a board game. The glow of the flames, the quiet crackle of burning logs, the light scent of smoke, all of it creates a particular feeling of coziness that's hard to put into words, but easy to feel once you've spent even one evening inside a home like this. Even now, with modern heating available in homes, many families still chop wood and light a fire every single day, simply because they can't imagine a winter evening without it. Local people even have a special word for this particular feeling, the feeling of simple, homely warmth and peace. For them, winter isn't just a season to get through and endure. It's a time when life deliberately slows down. A time when what matters isn't rushing off somewhere, but spending the evening with family, wrapped in a blanket by the fire, listening to the wind howl outside. And there's another place in these people's lives that means far more than just a room for washing. That's the sauna, and here it is treated almost like a sacred place. For centuries, the sauna was the warmest and cleanest room in the house. Children were born here. People said their final goodbyes to loved ones here. Important decisions were made here, and people simply rested here after a hard day's work. Even today, despite all the changes, many families still set aside one evening each week to go to the sauna together. Inside, stones are heated to a very high temperature. When water is poured over them, there's a loud hiss, and the room instantly fills with thick steam. This is the moment local people call by a special word, almost like the soul of the whole sauna experience, its deepest meaning. During the session, many people gently tap their bodies with a bundle of fresh birch branches. It's believed to help get the blood flowing and ease tiredness. But perhaps the most striking part of this tradition isn't the heat or the steam at all. The most striking part is the silence. Almost no one speaks inside the sauna. The only sounds are the hiss of water on the hot stones and the quiet crackle of firewood in the stove. People simply sit, letting the heat slowly relax the body and calm the mind. And once the body has warmed up thoroughly, many people step straight out into the snow, or dive into a hole specially cut into the ice of a frozen lake. The sharp shift from intense heat to icy water sounds frightening, but for local people, it's just an ordinary, familiar part of the week. After going through several rounds of this, heat, then cold, then heat again, people come out of the sauna with a remarkable feeling of lightness, as if both body and mind had been reborn. Step outside the sauna, leave the warm wooden houses behind, and the world around greets you with near total silence. Endless forests, huge lakes, and open tundra stretching all the way to the horizon surround the village. Every morning, local people pay attention not so much to the clock as to what they see outside the window. How much snow fell overnight? Has the wind changed direction? Is the ice on the lake thick enough to walk across? Even a small shift in the weather can completely change the plans for the entire day. Beyond the houses lies the true taiga, a vast forest that people enter all year round, not as visitors, but as owners who know this land. In summer and early autumn, they gather wild berries and mushrooms here to freeze and eat throughout the long winter. Before the snow covers the ground, neat stacks of firewood are set beside every home. Here, preparing for winter isn't some special choice or heroic act. It's simply an ordinary, natural way of life, passed down from parents to children almost without anyone noticing, along with all the other habits of this remarkable land. So, little by little, step by step, the house becomes more than just shelter from the cold. It becomes a true center of life, a place where warmth is born, where traditions are kept, where the character is shaped of a person able to live in a place where living seems almost impossible. But life here isn't limited to the home alone. Ahead of us is something no less important: the work these people do, the culture of the indigenous people of this land, and the remarkable traditions that connect a person to this harsh nature far more deeply than one might imagine. There are places where work is simply a way to earn money, and there are places where work is a way to survive in harmony with the land around you. The far north is exactly that kind of place. Here, winter can last many months in a row, and every job, every profession here is connected in some way to the climate, to the snow, to the endless open spaces. Work here is almost an art, the art of understanding nature and adapting to it, rather than fighting against it. Beyond the houses and wooden streets lies the true forest, a vast taiga stretching for many kilometers. People come here all year round, but not as occasional visitors. They come as owners who know this land well and respect its laws. Even farther beyond the forest lies a completely different landscape: endless lakes. One of them holds a special place in local life. In summer, families head out onto this lake early in the morning to fish, or take a boat to one of its many islands. In winter, this very same lake freezes to a thickness of more than 1 meter. It becomes a real road, connecting settlements that lie far apart from one another. Within just a few months, the very same place completely changes its role. From a waterway, it turns into a reliable ice route. Even farther north, the forest gradually gives way to open tundra, where the ground is covered in moss and lichen. It is here that herds of reindeer come every winter, digging through the snow in search of food, just as their ancestors did for many generations before them. The people who live in these lands understand one simple truth well. The forest changes with the seasons. The lakes freeze and thaw again. And all a person can do is learn to live in harmony with these changes, rather than trying to fight them. Moving further through this land, you can reach a small town considered the true cultural heart of the indigenous people of these northern territories. Life moves slowly here. A woman in bright traditional national clothing walks down the street, while ordinary modern cars drive past her. Nearby, someone scrolls through their phone, and the smell of fresh coffee drifts out of a cafe window. Centuries-old traditions here aren't hidden away behind museum glass. They simply continue to live alongside ordinary modern life, naturally, without any pretense. For many generations, the indigenous people of this land have passed down not only their language, but also a special understanding of nature that's hard to explain to someone from a big city. Their language has an enormous number of words for snow, ice, and animal tracks. For people born here, these aren't just pretty words. They are a way of reading the world around them, knowing when it's safe to set out, when it's better to stay home, when it's time to move the reindeer herds to new grazing grounds. Today, children can still learn the indigenous language at school. Many families carefully pass down folk songs, traditional clothing, and knowledge about life in the far north that has built up over centuries. On the shore of one of the region's main lakes, a museum and a cultural center operate, where people gather, learn more about their history, and simply talk with one another. And on another island in the middle of the same lake stands a rock that, for local people, remains a special, almost sacred place, a reminder of spiritual traditions that haven't disappeared, but simply live on in people's memory. One of the main occupations that has fed people in this land for centuries is reindeer herding. In some areas, the number of reindeer even exceeds the number of people. Every year, huge herds move across the forests and open tundra, following the changing seasons, just as they did hundreds of years ago. But today, this ancient tradition no longer looks the way it once did. Modern herders use drones to keep watch over the herd from above, special sensor collars to know where the animals are, and snowmobiles to move quickly across the vast, snow-covered land. Meat, hides, and antlers from the reindeer are turned into various useful products, becoming an important source of income for many families. Something an outsider might simply call harsh weather and hard conditions has long since become the foundation of life for entire generations here. Every winter, millions of travelers come here from all over the world. They want to see the northern lights with their own eyes, ride a dog sled, travel by reindeer sleigh, and spend the night in an unusual hotel built entirely of ice, or in a cabin with a glass roof through which you can see the night sky. Behind every one of these experiences are ordinary local people, those who guide visitors to see the northern lights, who look after the dogs and reindeer, who work in the hotels and tourist centers. Thanks to this, winter tourism has become one of the region's most important industries and a reliable source of income for many families. Besides tourism, the region also has developed mining, forestry, and wood processing industries. All of these industries operate under strict controls, so as not to harm the fragile northern nature, which already struggles to recover from any human interference. While most of the village is still asleep, snowplows are already out on the roads. After every heavy snowfall, special crews work non-stop to keep the roads passable, so that ambulances, delivery trucks, buses, and ordinary residents who need to reach a neighboring village can get through. This quiet, unnoticed work allows everyday life to continue even on the harshest winter days, when it feels like the whole world should simply stop. But not everyone in the far north works outdoors, in the snow and frost. Today, high-speed internet has reached even the most remote villages. Some people work remotely, right from home, surrounded by tall pines or overlooking a frozen lake. During the day, they video call colleagues in big cities and even in other countries, and in the evening, after closing their laptop, they step out onto the porch and see nothing but fresh snow, tall trees, and a complete, almost ringing silence. To get through the long winter, food is prepared here well in advance, stocked up long before the first snow falls. In late summer and early autumn, people gather wild berries and mushrooms in the forest to freeze or dry for winter. Fish and meat are smoked, dried, or salted using special methods passed down from older generations for a very long time. Reindeer meat is one of the main staples of the local cuisine. One of the most beloved dishes is braised reindeer, served with mashed potatoes and lingonberry jam. The combination of the rich flavor of the meat and the gentle tartness of the berries creates a remarkable balance that's hard to find anywhere else. The lakes here also become an important source of food. As soon as the ice on them becomes thick enough, people drill small holes through it and fish right there on the ice. The catch of the day is often simply grilled over an open fire or turned into a thick, warming soup made with salmon, a dish especially appreciated after long hours spent out in the cold. People here also love coffee very much. After a day's work, many families gather together over a cup of hot black coffee and a fresh cinnamon bun. Sometimes it's exactly this, simple food and an ordinary cup of hot coffee, that brings a true sense of calm and comfort on the coldest days of the year. So, step by step, the work these people do becomes more than just a way to make a living. It becomes a genuine dialogue with nature, ancient, and at the same time, constantly renewed with the help of new technology. But the most touching part of life in the far north still lies ahead: the holidays, the traditions, and the special moments that bring whole families together and are passed down from grandparents to grandchildren, keeping the soul of this remarkable land alive for generations to come. There are places where holidays mean noise, city lights, and crowds of people in public squares. And there are places where a holiday means the quiet light of a candle in the window of a small wooden house surrounded by endless snow. The far north belongs firmly to the second kind. Here, Christmas is nothing like what you'd see in big European cities. There are no noisy holiday markets, no bright shop windows, no crowds of tourists. Here, Christmas is a time for family to come together, simply to be with one another. On the evening of December 24th, sleighs pulled by reindeer glide quietly along snow-covered roads. You can hear the soft ringing of bells, the crunch of footsteps in fresh snow, and see the warm light spilling out of the windows of wooden houses. All of it creates a special, almost magical holiday atmosphere. Inside, the house smells of gingerbread cookies, prune pastries, and traditional Christmas rice porridge. Before the holiday dinner, many families, just like on any ordinary week, go to the sauna. It becomes a quiet, calm transition from an ordinary day into a special evening. After the Christmas church service, many families go to the cemetery to light small candles in memory of those who are no longer with them. Against the white snow, thousands of small flames light up the whole village. A simple but deeply moving image that closes out Christmas evening with both warmth and a gentle sadness. As winter gradually begins to retreat and spring only starts to make itself known, the indigenous peoples of these northern lands celebrate their traditional festivals. On frozen lakes, reindeer sled races are held. Spectators stand along the icy track, cheering loudly for the racers, while skilled riders speed across the ice using techniques passed down within families for many generations. And as evening falls, a special kind of throat singing begins to sound by the fire. Ancient songs performed almost entirely without musical instruments. In these songs, everything around these people seems to come alive. The people themselves, the reindeer, the mountains, the forests, and the land that has shaped their culture and character for centuries. At the end of January, when daylight finally starts returning after the long polar night, one of the towns in this land hosts an indigenous film festival. One of its most remarkable features is the venue itself, where the films are shown. Alongside regular movie theaters, some films are shown in a cinema built entirely of ice and snow. The audience sits on reindeer hides, wraps up in warm blankets, and watches films surrounded by the silence of the Arctic winter. Light from the screen softly reflects off the icy walls, creating an atmosphere that can't be recreated anywhere else in the world. If winter is remembered for its long darkness, then the end of June brings the complete opposite. During the midsummer holiday, the sun barely sets even deep into the night. On the shores of lakes and rivers, people gather to light traditional holiday bonfires. The flames reflect beautifully on the calm water. Children run around on the grass, and adults cook food over an open fire, talk, and sing songs late into the night. After a long, harsh winter, this holiday becomes a true celebration of light, a time when nature knows almost no darkness at all. In a land covered in snow for nearly half the year, the glow of these bonfires and the sun that never sets seem to officially announce, summer has finally come to the far north. Here, winter isn't something children are taught to fear. It's simply part of growing up, as natural as first steps or first words. In the cold months, babies still nap outdoors during the day, on the porch or in a stroller, wrapped warmly in special sleeping bags. For many families, this tradition has been passed down for many generations. From the earliest age, a child learns not to fear the cold, but to treat it calmly, as an ordinary part of life. As children grow a little older, nature itself becomes their first and most important teacher. Adults teach them how to use a small knife to carve wood, how to build a fire, how to tell edible mushrooms and berries apart from inedible ones, and how to move safely across snow and ice. These lessons take place far beyond the walls of the school. Many activities happen right in the forest. There, children build fires, roast sausages over them, and learn about nature firsthand, far more than any textbook could teach them. On winter mornings, when the sky is still wrapped in soft twilight, children put on reflective clothing and head to school, on foot, on skis, or by school bus along snow-covered roads. Even breaks between lessons are often spent outdoors, whenever the weather allows. Thanks to this kind of upbringing, children in the far north learn independence, deep respect for nature, and the ability to adapt to life in places where winter lasts most of the year, from a very early age. It is in these holidays, in these childhood habits and small family rituals, that the true soul of the far north is hidden. Not in the harsh climate, not in the endless distances, but in the warmth and love with which people manage to turn even the most ordinary moments, dinner by the fireplace, a trip to the sauna, a bonfire on the shore of a lake, into something truly meaningful and unforgettable. But time doesn't stand still. Even this ancient, settled way of life is gradually beginning to change. And the next part of our journey will tell the story of the changes and challenges the people of the far north face today, and how they continue to fight for the right to stay on the land they have called home for so many generations. For thousands of years, the people of the far north could rely on one simple law of nature, the familiar rhythm of the changing seasons. In autumn, the lakes froze over, the forests were covered in a thick layer of snow for many months, and the reindeer calmly dug through the soft snow with their hooves to reach the lichen they fed on all winter. This order repeated year after year, generation after generation, as if carved into the land itself. But today, this familiar order is gradually changing. The Arctic is warming much faster than the rest of the planet. Winter now arrives later. Snow melts earlier than before, and winter rain, which almost never used to happen in past years, now occurs more and more often. After each such rainfall, the water quickly freezes right on top of the snow, forming a dense crust of ice. For the reindeer, this becomes a real problem, because it's now much harder for the animals to break through this hard ice to reach their main winter food source. Because of this, herders now increasingly have to feed their herds extra supplies. Something that used to be necessary only in the rarest and harshest winters is gradually becoming an ordinary part of life. But nature isn't the only thing changing in this land. Life in the villages themselves is also gradually transforming. After finishing school, many young people leave their home villages to study or build careers in larger cities, and only a few of them ever come back. Because of this, many northern settlements have fewer and fewer children every year. Some schools have only about a dozen students, and some schools have been merged with neighboring ones entirely because there's simply no one left to keep them running separately. Roads that used to be full of noisy groups of children hurrying to school in the morning are now noticeably quieter. This gives rise to another, deeper problem. Traditional knowledge, the skills of managing reindeer herds, indigenous crafts, wilderness survival skills, becomes harder and harder to pass on to the next generation because there's often simply no one left to pass it on to. In many remote villages today, older people make up most of the population, and the nearest major hospital may be hundreds of kilometers away, so getting medical care isn't always easy, especially in winter, when heavy snow and harsh weather make the roads nearly impassable. As the population continues to shrink, it becomes harder to keep even the simplest everyday services running. Some post offices, small shops, and local service points are closing or merging with others, and residents have to travel much farther to take care of the most ordinary daily needs. But despite all these difficulties, the people of the far north are in no hurry to leave their land. Instead, they are finding new ways to adapt to the changes. Today, high-speed internet has reached even